Okay, once you've signed up for a new account, when you haven't been invited, you'll have a blank organization with the default name up here. So there's going to be some setup involved. All the stages will be blank, the locations will be blank. You only have one staff member. So basically, you have to set it up. And we'll start at the bottom here. We'll go to settings. And the first thing we're going to do is actually give this a real org's name. So we'll call this like Arrigo Dodge. Save. You can see it updated the name up here. So then the next thing we're going to do is it's going to load common vehicle types from across all accounts, right? So like all the organizations will share a common database of these types, but we can add one. So if we want to add, say, like a 2016 Toyota Tundra, 2016 Toyota Tundra, and add it, it'll show up down here. So as you can see, you may have to add vehicle types, or it may come with all the vehicle types you need. Locations, you'll definitely have to add because there'll be 0 locations. So this is like, I don't know, bay number 1, bay number 2, so forth and so on. After locations, we can add parts. And again, this will come with some stock parts in here, and you can add to it like we can call this like brake light, and it'll add to the list. And then if you expand this, you'll see the estimates that you've added for each one. And so while the list of parts is standard across every organization, each organization can add their own estimate, and it won't show up for other organizations. So if we want to add a brake light estimate, it's going to ask what vehicle type. So if we find our Tundra down there and we say they're $20, submit it, then we see our estimate for brake light parts down there. Going up the road to service types, it's very similar. You have some stock service types. And so if we wanted to add one, we could add one. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go in here, and I'm just going to go into tire rotation. And so again, we don't have an estimate for tire rotation because that you have to do that per organization. So we can add an estimate and say that tire rotation for a 2016 Tundra is, the labor is $20. And then we can also say we'll also say we need brake lights. I know you won't, but we'll also say that you need, for a tire rotation, you need brake light. You need a brake light. Submit. And so then you see it pulls in our estimate for brake light, $20, and then the labor you just added of $20. So then you have a complete estimated service for tire rotation. Again, going up the road here, we have roles. And so the only role by default will be admin. So you can add roles for your organization, like service rep, say technician, parts personnel, and whatever else you want to add, you can add it right here for it to show up under your roles, which are unique to your organization. Stages is the last part of setting this up. So stages is the stages that a service goes through, or a vehicle goes through. So if we add this, let's say this is like check-in, and the position is what position it appears in the list. So we'll say 1, and then allowed roles. So what roles can access the check-in stage? So we'll say service rep, and then admin can allow them all. And then allowed locations. You'll see what this means, but this is basically like what locations do check-in take place at. So we'll say bay number 1. And then allowed stages, there are no other stages, so this is blank, but this means what stage can it go to after check-in. We'll see that in a second. So let me add that. And so then I'm going to say, like, I'm going to add a stage called in service. And position 2, technicians can access this, and we'll say it takes place in bay number 1. And so again, what stages can come after in service? So it can't go back to check-in, so I'm going to leave that blank. But now I'm going to go back to check-in, and I'm going to update it to allow in-service check-in. So it can go from check-in to in-service, and I'll update that. So now we've kind of set up our our organization a little bit. This shows us how many vehicles we have in check-in, how many are in service, how many vehicles are in bay 1, bay 2, and then staff who has what vehicles, and then finally vehicles assigned to me. In the next video, we're going to take a look at adding customers, and then finally we'll take a look at adding staff and then adding customers after that.